Hi everyone, this is Phil Travis, and this is EUH 1001 here at the State College of Florida. It's week 8, last week, we made it. This is the last week of the term. I want to first of all say that I hope everyone's really enjoyed the term. I've really enjoyed, having each of you, and I think we've had some great discussions in the class. I think we've really engaged some pretty heavy topics, and I think we've done really, really well as a class. So I hope everyone's really enjoyed the class. I hope you've enjoyed these announcements, the little factoid extra credit stuff that I give you with these announcements. I hope many of you have watched my recorded lecture presentations that I give to you. I try to use these types of things, the announcements and the videos, to make the class a little bit more, to make an online class a little bit more interactive and engaging between student and professor. And so I hope it has that effect with each of you, and I hope each of you, really got something out of this class and have really enjoyed it. This week, it's the last week, but this is a fun week, in my opinion. Very, very interesting stuff. The stuff we're talking about this week is like my own specialization as a historian. I wrote a book recently. It came out. It's called Reagan's War on Terrorism in Nicaragua, and it's about the later period of the Cold War. This week we're going to be talking about the Cold War, and because it's the topic of my research, I'm particularly interested in it. The Cold War generally is a period from 1947 to 1941 in which the United States and its allies stood off against the Soviet Union and its allies in the world, and much of the tension occurred in Europe, though not always, and across the developing world, particularly the world that was formerly colonized by countries like Britain and France and so forth. There were some very intense and bloody wars fought during the Cold War. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. Today's war in Afghanistan still has roots to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. The U.S. war in Vietnam, the Korean War, which of course currently we're still dealing with much of the difficulties and tensions from from the end of the Korean War and the Cold War period. So the Cold War has very much shaped our world today in really profound ways, and whether it's clandestine operations in Central America, like my book was on during the Cold War, or whether it was huge and intense wars in Vietnam and Southeast Asia, or guerrilla wars across Africa and the Middle East. The Cold War had a profound impact on the world. Or if it was the development of nuclear arms races, which the concept of nuclear proliferation, which emerges from the nuclear arms race as a result of the Soviet Union and the United States competing to build bigger and bigger nuclear arsenals. Regardless of what it is, the Cold War had a tremendous amount of, it still is, having a tremendous effect on our world today. And so this is what we're going to be looking at this week. We are reading from our textbook, chapter 27 and 28. In addition, I have my weekly presentation up on the Cold War, which hopefully everybody will watch. Even if you're doing the laundry, you can still watch that and get something out of it. It's, as long as it's going on and you're thinking about it. In addition to the weekly presentation, though, I also want you to watch a film. It's not that long, and you don't have to necessarily watch the entirety of it to get out of it what I hope you'll get out of it. But the film's called Atomic Cafe, and it's in your modules area for this week. I want you to watch the film, and then there's a little response that goes along with it. It's like a video quiz response. It's an easy, free 10 points. All you have to do is watch the film and then write me a paragraph in reaction to it. Super easy way to get points. This film will blow your mind, I think. It will really, really, really make you think about, first, why the atomic bombs were used during World War II, and then what the ramifications of atomic and nuclear weapons were for countries like the United States, particularly the United States, for this film in the decades that followed. So watch that, write your response, participate in the discussion this week. Our last test, our final exam, is this Sunday. It's due this Sunday by midnight. It's not a cumulative exam. It's just like every other exam. Use the study guide. I draw the tests directly from the study guide. So use the study guide. I know it's a lot of reading material, but if you follow the study guide and you focus on the terms and the essay topics on the study guide, you'll be fine for the test. So start studying now, study through the week, and then take the test on Sunday. And I think everybody will do just fine. Okay, so the factoid, our parting factoid. The parting factoid for us this week is this. Remember, email me this no later than midnight, by Wednesday by midnight, to get your free point added towards a test score at the end of the term, which is now. The factoid is this. The Cold War resulted in, like I said, it resulted in a standoff between the United States and the Soviet Union. It resulted in a huge nuclear arms race and military arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union. It resulted in near global war between the Soviet Union and the United States. It resulted in guerrilla conflicts. It resulted in overthrows of governments. A myriad of types of things occurred during the Cold War as the Soviet Union and its allies and the United States and its allies sought to control the destiny and the alliance of various governments, particularly across the developing world. For the United States, the most devastating and tragic event across the developing world was, of course, the Vietnam War. And in the Vietnam War, the United States had about 60,000 Americans killed. Estimates of the Vietnamese killed probably over 1 million. This is the factoid. In the American-Vietnam War that lasted from 1965 until 1973, the United States dropped more bombs in terms of tonnage. The United States dropped more tons of bombs in that sliver of jungle in Southeast Asia than it had dropped in all theaters of World War II combined. So the factoid for this week is this, that the United States during the Vietnam War dropped more tons of bombs in that sliver of jungle in Southeast Asia than it had dropped in all theaters of World War II combined. All right, guys, let's have a great week. Email me that factoid no later than Wednesday by midnight. Get your extra point. Let's end this last week on a really high note. Very interesting and exciting topic, I think. So email me if you have any questions, and let's have a great week.